They all down there at the reflecting pool. Well, this look the exact same. Tell security to keep people off stage. Then again, she looked like she might have been indigenous. We can't slander the indigenous people during this time of year. Because Lord knows. Lord knows that, hey, live on TikTok right now at the Great American State Fair, tens upon tens of people showed up. Hey, no, you can't be taking wide footage like that. Zoom in. So get you a nice tight shot. That's what we want to put out to the world. Now this is good. This is good. Now this is a good shot right here. Right? Would you look at the sunglasses? What's in the sunglasses? Oh, no. Never mind. Zoom back. Zoom back. No, we can't have that. We can't have that. Hey, who was headlining this? Who was the headliner?
Out to breathe the rain, we're all out of luck. No, this can't be denied. You gotta be special.
Y'all added new goats. y'all added new goats. And I can tell y'all manipulated that. Y'all manipulated that because I think the ghost was more on key than what y'all made it sound like. I don't agree with that. Breaking, Laura Trump performed at Trump's National State Fair. Witnesses say the ghost absolutely effing nailed it. I would agree with witnesses. I would agree with yes. I would say so. I would say so. Shout out to the ghost. I hate that it had to be brought into this. Hey Trump, you know what you want to do? Just make it about Jesus. Because don't nobody like to boo church. You know, so if you make it about Jesus and it's on a weekend, then people will show up for that. I guess no one at the Great American Fair wants to listen to the Jesus music on the mall. Either that or they were disoriented by the Great American State Fair with the Israeli flag hanging. What y'all doing? What y'all doing? You know what I mean? How y'all won't beat the Israel first allegations like this? I don't. Ask the Great American State Fair freedom to say. I'm here and can confirm it's completely empty, but at least they randomly hung an Israeli flag. And wait a minute. Run that footage one more time. Run that footage one more time. Is that a baptismal baby pool? Y'all got it there? Y'all got a baptismal baby pool. I can't think of anything more MAGA than getting baptized in a baby pool under a tent with an Israeli flag flying at the Great American State Fair. That's so MAGA. That is so. Hey, did y'all even clean that baby pool? That pool still got toddler pee in it. Who want to be baptized in that? No, because you're supposed to be proclaiming, you're supposed to be giving your life to the Lord in front of witnesses. Ain't no witnesses. Where the witnesses at? Huh? Fox News? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we
are certainly can. We're all the way from Las Vegas, really excited to be here with the National Endowment for the Arts on the mall for the 250th. Let's start off with our beautiful film.
How do you F up the 250th this badly? It's such an easy win. An average summer day on the mall is 100 times more full. You have to work to make it this empty. This regime is such a bizarre, tragic comedy. They ain't lying. They ain't lying. If you would have done nothing, it would have been more people on the mall than this right here. Nothing at all, it would have been more people. And I can tell you this, if you just would have hired a go-go band from right up the street, it would be packed. True story, the colonoscopy waiting room at my local hospital has more enthusiasm than Trump's American State Fair. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true because I had mine and they knock you out for that. Oh, you said the waiting room? So like before the colonoscopy, like before they knock you out. Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, that checks out.
It's sad, isn't it?
Do you ever in your wildest dreams think you may be doing your Sunday show from a state fair on the National Mall? How great is this?
It's really something. And the weather, not the best today, but people are still coming out.
People are still coming in. Listen, we need rain, so we'll take it. Well, the farmers need the rain, so we're going to be okay with it.
We do need rain.
People still coming out, huh? People still coming out. When you think they're going to make it? October? Is that when you think they're going to make it? Y'all normally be more buttoned up than this, Fox News. You going to sit there and show us the empty field and talk about how all the people... Well, use your graphics. Matter of fact, we'll help you. Here goes some graphics right here. There you go. Here goes some graphics. Use that next time you tell us about how packed it is down there.
And sometimes the pictures really don't tell the full story, because if you look behind us, you see, okay, there are a couple of hundred people back there, but the truth is, when you make your way over here and you're in a wash of people,
Sir, are you trying to tell us that if I physically go down there, that people will multiply? Is this like the bread and wine in the Bible? Is that what you mean? The people will multiply if I magically go down there? Hey, Fox News, that's how y'all been paying him? That's how y'all... Hey, the numbers don't tell the full story. Sir, the numbers don't tell the full story. I know what the numbers look like. They just look like a couple $100. When you take that to the bank, you'll be awash in money. I can tell you that. You will be awash in money. Hey, does he sell real estate? Because I'm pretty sure I've heard that for real estate about the pictures not telling the whole story. I have definitely heard that. And I got something for you, sir. Trump has released photographic proof that his American State Fair is absolutely packed. Some are calling it the largest crowd ever assembled. Hey, that picture's making a better case than you did, sir. It absolutely is.
happy early birthday, America. We're celebrating already at the Great American State Fair. Man, we've got thousands of people celebrating this birthday with us, Tommy. You and I had a chance to go out. We got to see some of the exhibits. I'm sure you got what I got, which was a lot of people going, hey, love to watch it on Fox. I hope a lot of them left the mall, went home and turned on their TV and are watching us right now. But
now, wait a minute. So your explanation now is that it was packed, and then everybody left to turn on their TV because they wanted to watch it on Fox. Hey, everybody came down to D.C. from all over America, sitting in their hotel rooms watching Fox for the coverage of the event that they just left. MAGA. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. If all others accepted the lie, if all others told the same tale, the lie passed into history and became truth. Orwell in 1984. Only when he wrote that, we couldn't have imagined just how low the bar would be for truth. Y'all buying this, MAGA? Y'all buying this? What y'all kneeling for? What? They kneeling. I agree with you, Spencer. Not a cult. Definitely not a cult. That is definitely. Hey, y'all think if y'all pray to the golden trump, it's gonna make more people there? Is that what you think? Huh? It's gonna fill up the mall if you pray for more people? Is that what y'all doing? Fun day at the Great American State Fair. Oh, we got somebody who went down there. How cool is it that we are alive during this historic time and we get to experience America's 250th birthday? Look forward to making more lifelong memories over the course of this very special week. Okay. Oh, from Caroline Levitt. From Caroline Levitt? Wait a minute. Did you have to get people from the administration to go down there so it looked like it was people? Come on, dog. Come on. You had to get, she on the payroll. We already paying her to do a bad job. Now she's spending her time walking around the empty mall. And why is her husband not there? It would have been more cool if we could have got her husband there. Oh, it's not wheelchair accessible? Oh, okay. All right. Never mind. Oh, but Caroline Levitt is still working from the mall. Half dozens of people are enjoying the National State Fair for Freedom 250, and it's driving the liberals crazy. Touche. Yeah, touche. Hey, what you doing? Stay away from Caroline Levitt. Stay away from Caroline. Do you know what it's going to look like if you got to interview people from the administration?
What is your biggest takeaway now that you have seen the state fair that is happening during 250, that is happening during the FIFA World Cup, which has a fan zone right over there?
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is a remarkable. The team did a remarkable job. I'm blown away. The Ferris wheel looks so fun. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm about to. And it's so cool to have all 50 states represented and people from all over the country that have traveled to enjoy our nation's 250th birthday.
Fox News. So you thought it would make the event look better that not only did you have to interview somebody whose job is to prop up this administration, but also the fact that you easily could find them in the wild. Oh, look, Caroline Levitt. I can see her on the other side of the mall. Come on, dog. Hey, it's bad. And honestly, the cover-up is worse than the crime. LMAO, they had to show clips of the FIFA Fan Fest in D.C. like no one would notice because no one went to Trump's dumpster fire of a state fair. I know y'all didn't. I know y'all did not. I know y'all did. You know how we knew that it was a FIFA Fan Fest? Because I can hear the booing. I can hear the booing from that photo. Oh, no, I didn't think all about the FIFA Fan Fest. Oh, no, I know all about it. Hey, tell Caroline Levitt to sit down. Hey, Fox News, y'all sit down, too. Yes, y'all sit down, too. Y'all not doing it. Y'all not doing the job. Y'all got to let the right-wing influencers try and save this. MAGA's Dean Cain inadvertently reveals the puny crowd size at the PDF Psychopath's latest colossal failure, the Great American State Fair on the National Mall. Dean Cain. You thought you were Superman, like only you could see how few people was out there? Is that what you thought? You thought we was going to put on some glasses and all the people was magically going to be there? Is that what you thought? Huh? Well, you needed somebody to fix it for you before you put it out there. Apparently, Superman don't know about Photoshop. That's what we learned right now.
Coming to you live from the comfort of my bedroom because I wasn't driving 20 minutes to go to this event. So I bring you the American Fair. What's the name of this thing? I don't even know. The American State Fair. First, let's see if we can get a shot of the crowd. Oh, yes, look, the guy that nobody remembers was Superman. Dean Cain has a view from atop the Ferris wheel, and wow, there's like 50 people. I've seen longer crowds to get into Trader Joe's. Okay, what an underwhelming turnout. I wonder what the Republicans on Fox News had to say.
We're celebrating already at the Great American State Fair. Man, we've got thousands of people celebrating this birthday with us, Tommy.
This is probably why our economy's stuck under Republican presidents. They can't do math, clearly. That is like dozens of people in that shot. But hey, since this is the God-fearing evangelical crew, surely everyone must be in the Jesus tent. Oh, the church tent. Apologies. Okay, let's go see who's in the church tent. It appears no one was in the church tent. I can't. The party and not a single one in the church tent was shocked. It's interesting because the tricentennial, what the hell is it? The 250th anniversary of this country. One would think that more people would turn out for a celebration like this. In fact, not only did they not turn out, but it looks like somehow you drove the tourists away. So there's even less people. Hold on. I'm getting word that apparently they're asking the people who are manning the booths to leave their booths to walk around so that it looks like there's more of a crowd. How sad. But they did spend a lot of money in conveniencing people that live here and visit here in order to put up some decorations. Maybe those look... Oh dear. They are also fake, like everything associated with this administration, which shouldn't come as a shock considering the man who is president ran simply to stay out of jail and also not go to more jail for his association with known... So all in all, today from the American State Fair, it was excruciatingly embarrassing for us all, as is anything that the Republicans and Donald Trump touch. So, only 2.5 more years of this. Get your act together and show up in November and pick anybody but these people, I swear to God. Absolutely no one showed up for this thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You're not even popular among your own people anymore. Oh my God.
So I am downtown heading to Trump's little state fair thingamajiggy. Of course, they already screwed up. The damn thing was supposed to be at 12th Street. It's not. They send you to 12th Street on the map, and now they're making me walk 3 or 4 blocks to get to the entrance because they've got enough security here to be like it's the airport or the White House or something. Well, that took forever. I had to walk like 4 or 5 blocks to get to this stupid entrance. You see, not exactly big lines here today. Not exactly any lines here today. But let's see what happens next. Okay, I'm finally inside this crazy thing after blocks and blocks and blocks. There's the Ferris wheel, the huge line there. Kind of weird, kind of empty. There's his freaking arch. He's got a lot of like neoclassical fake stuff along the sides that we're going to visit. There's the Congress. Behind me is the Washington Monument. Oops. Hello. Sure. Now we're going to go look at this freaking ugliest arch. I mean, honestly, the top stuff looks like the guys from World War II Germany don't get it. Nasty stuff. Okay, so there we go. Oh my God. I mean, that is the most hideous stuff. It's like from Game of Thrones, the stuff on top. It's total Game of Thrones. This bizarro, look at this crap. How tacky. At the very least, we're bulldozing this stuff off when he leaves. Honestly, the arch overall may just have to be taken down. Really ugly stuff. Now, what I just figured out is these are the various states that are inside these little fake neoclassical things, and then Congress in the background. So let's take a look. So here we are with North Carolina. They've got a race car. I'm not terribly impressed with my native D.C. There's like a fake cherry blossom and then a wall you can sign. Virginia is a sign that says love made of corn, apple, utensils, and peanuts. Then there's a rodeo tent. No rodeo going on yet, although very pretty dog in the background, but that's about it.
I'm sorry. You said rodeo? I heard something about that. The rodeo Trump put on for the Great American Fair is for hobby horses. You can't make this up.
Then here's my Illinois tent. Again, a little weird. There's corn. The kids are playing with corn and Legos of some kind. I'm not quite sure why that's Illinois, but what the hell. So far these states are very, very boring. I'm going to now go over to Alaska and see what they've got. I spend a lot of time in Alaska. If Alaska's boring, I'm going to be very disappointed because how could Alaska be boring? Not a ton of people here either, by the way. You can see the crowd, the wild crowd. It's a cast of thousands. And for some reason, nobody can figure out there's a line for Arizona. Only Arizona. Nobody else. But Arizona, there's a line. So this is very sad. Alaska and Hawaii have nothing. I'm not quite sure why. Hawaii, Democratic state. Alaska, Republican state. There's nothing here. Very weird.
Trump's Great American State Fair opens with melted ice cream and empty booths. A visit to the event to mark the United States' 250th birthday turned up sparse visitors, power problems, and an early closure for bad weather. The Great American State Fair is underway at the National Mall to mark the United States' 250th birthday, but not everything is off to such a great start. The event has quickly faced problems including power outages, melting ice cream, and a lack of representation from states that declined to send delegations. Wait a minute, did you say melting ice cream? Y'all got the McDonald's shake machines? Like, what's going on? That's what our tax dollars paying for? Wait, there's more. Trump, this is bad. This is bad. I thought your birthday with the army was bad. I thought that was bad. I thought the way y'all turned the White House lawn into a monster truck rally, I thought that was bad. I thought your whole administration was bad, if we're being honest. But this is. I can't imagine it can get worse. Honestly, I cannot imagine it could possibly get worse. A MAGA man accused of at Donald Trump's Great American. I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. No. No, because the Daily Mail, they just no. I don't believe it. Look, I can't put nothing past MAGA, but that's a little too on the nose. Yeah, y'all making stuff up now. Man accused of filming performers sticking his hand down his pants at Great American State Fair. The incident happened during a Cirque Mechanics performance, according to a witness statement found in court documents. Court documents. Court documents. So this was a real. This was a. He earned this seat. He earned this seat, man. I'll be honest. He earned this seat, man. Y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Getting arrested for fun while dressed as Uncle Sam at Trump's State Fair to celebrate America is the most MAGA thing ever. Give them more time. They still got a couple more days.
Without your bravery, we're all on the line. No, this can't be denied. You gotta be special. Takes a lot to push the block and everybody first. I think it may go.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video. And I want to give a special shout out to the longtime mods that we've had here on the channel, Deshauna, Kristen, and lovely Nola. They've done a fantastic job. And you know what? They can use some help. So if you are interested in moderating either the lives or our premieres or both, shoot me an email to admin@reporters.com and make sure you include your handle on YouTube, because I ain't gonna recognize you by your email. Ain't nobody, no, I'm not. That'd be like the people at my mama's church when I show up for Easter and Christmas. They don't, yeah, they used to me sitting here. They're not used to the whole body with the, the legs and the arm bottoms and all that. They don't even recognize that. And I can't even tell you guys how much I appreciate all the positive feedback that I received from the last ending that we did, all about Father's Day. And I especially appreciated hearing from all the fellas like this. I love your channel, representing you in Saginaw, Michigan. Is there something you can do about Draymond Green? Can you come get Draymond Green? Just for America. Can you do it for America? I appreciate the knowledge gained and the laughter which helps to shine light to the challenging and gloomy times we are experiencing. Lord help us. Thank you for all you and your team do. Great work. Peace and blessings from Tanya Harris. That wasn't from one of the fellas. That's okay. All right, we must have to cycle to the next one. But I appreciate that, Tanya. I appreciate that. And representing Ghana, too. You were talking about Saginaw, Michigan, right? Or was there Saginaw in Ghana? Either way, we love it. Here we go. Hey, Reese, it's your girl Lynette here. Fellas, I thought what's going on? Go ahead, Lynette. Showing love and letting you know I'm extremely grateful for you and all you picked up off my back. I started watching right before the 24 elections, and I'd say you really helped me through the deepest, darkest parts of this past very, very long year and a few months. I'm so very grateful for you and your content. I became a member sometime in 2024. I also made my first merch purchase last month and love the quality of the gear. The hoodie I'm wearing ran a bit small, but as a girl, it fits very girly and I love it. My favorite color is purple, so I love more Let 'em Fight options. Who raised y'all face pick? Coming soon. Hashtag release the files. Now, Lynette. You are a woman after my own heart. I love that you got to release the files. That was one of the first ones that we made over there on the channel. And more Let 'em Fight options. Hey, well, don't threaten me with a good time. Don't threaten me with a good time. And by the way, in addition to Let 'em Fight, which by the way came from the content on the channel, or I guess you could say it came from the Trump administration and the Republicans. They kind of inspired Let 'em Fight. But in addition to that, we're working on Taste the Ancestors as well as They About to Drag You. And did somebody say racism is expensive? Yeah, we're gonna have to circle back around to that one as well. So make sure you stay tuned. But wait, there's more. But I absolutely love the pic, and it does look fantastic on you, fellas. What we doing? Huh? Take the next one. I said, hold up, wait a minute. From Frank.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
You haven't found a phone in the bottom of the ocean, have you, wet king? The more the Let's not waste his time gathering human refuse. Probably for the best. I dropped it after a crazy night on that, but yeah.
And then they put this message. Hey, Arval, I know your community is white only, but could you make exceptions for us two Negroes? We're not even full sub-Saharan. We are over 40% white.
That's all boy would they ever ask that.
Paul says this.
God bless the Hodge twins. But no! And that proves it ain't got shit to do with culture. It's not about culture. The Hodge twins couldn't be any more white than if they tried, besides, you know what I'm saying, literally changing their biology. They have completely drank the Kool-Aid. They are completely a part of the coalition, a part of the cause. They want to be accepted and validated by you. So you know that they are with it, all of it. They're for it. But you're still not invited. It's about culture. It's about race. The Hodge twins finally get their Negro wake-up call. Video by O'Shea to Duke Jackson. All right, man. The Hodge twins. Sucks that it went the way it did with these guys.
It wasn't so long ago that a guy by the name of Eric Arval went viral. He's a Caucasian man that's living in Arkansas, and his group, RECTL, Return to the Land, they're going viral for building all-white communities in Arkansas and in Missouri. He was interviewed on TMZ. He was asked a particular question.
Spoke about
Why is European heritage the purest form of European heritage, something that you embrace to the exclusion of others?
Okay, guys, you heard that question. His response is pretty interesting.
Well, for something to be what it is, it has to not be other things.
So for something to be one thing, it cannot be the other. This is his defense for starting an all-white town.
Right.
He wants to have shared values, shared phenotype, a particular shared culture. And what he's saying is as much as I may like you, or I may think highly of you, you are not this because you are something else. And this is important for racism. This is where it starts. There's a fundamental principle about it. Anybody who practices that will say, because you are not this, you are the other thing, and then the two things cannot mix.
It's right, you know.
But this hasn't stopped certain people from grifting. And one of the guys that grift a lot are the Hodge twins. Now, the Hodge twins started off on YouTube doing, am I honest saying, bodybuilding and satire? And
Yeah, man, I used to be a huge fan of the Hodge.
He really,
You know what I'm saying? Like growing up, their fitness shit. I thought they were funny and it was motivating. Now looking back, I think these guys might have been on gear. You know what I'm saying? Slow dose of testosterone at the very least. More than likely, all these fitness dudes, that's what they're doing, by the way. No, look at them today. You know, clearly they'll do anything for money. You know, so, but I was a fan, and it's still sad that things have gone the way it's gone, but it is what it is.
really big fan base. Well, their low-budget videos and lack of innovation in the way they were going caused their fan base to fail. And people started to notice a change in the content. Somebody needs to study the fallout of the Hodge twins, because I was really thinking about it today. I was like, is this a case of like chasing the bag and also inadvertently fumbling a future bag? So this particular person was a fan of the Hodge twins, and he realized something. Them two being these two big, light-skinned, raunchy brothers that are twins just makes sense in those kind of movies. Judd Apatow would have loved the Hodge twins, right? And I think to myself, that potential is screwed up because they thought to themselves, the conservative money will always be consistent and will always be coming. It's always going to be there.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
he understood something that's pretty interesting. First of all, the Hodge twins, they could have went to Hollywood with their natural talent, but they sold out. And how did they sell out? Well, they started making conservative media content. But what kind of content? Well, it was the content that started disrespecting blacks. If you can go to their Twitter space, they do it all day long.
Yeah.
Look at this one, July 29th. The kids get on it too. If you think blacks today are bad, just wait for the next generation.
Yeah. See, they're already saying, no, blacks are just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. All they do is shit on black people all day, every day, man.
This is a lot of their content. Look at this one. The black transgender are always the worst. He also said this. Black guy with the pack and black hoodie embarrasses himself in AutoZone when the manager was watching it. So basically what happens is the Hodge twins went from a comedic duo to an anti-black conservative duo in order to make money once their comedic duo started going down. And you got to understand something, that their mother was black. So they love their black mother a lot. But they did grift to this particular kind of conservative, anti-black leaning space alongside of people, let's say, like Candace Owens or Brandon Tatum.
Yeah.
And it's
the Coon Avenger right there.
Gotten a lot of people upset.
The Hodge twins are demons, bro. These two guys are demons. There's no other word to describe them. They have millions of followers. They've been on YouTube and they've been on social media for over 10 years. And they built a platform basically by bashing black people. And they decided to use their platform to attack a 17-year-old, a young man, not even an adult yet. And they're using their platform to try to attack not only this man's character, his family's character, before the trial even starts, so that way the public view will not think highly of him or his family.
As you can see here, we have somebody upset because the Hodge twins were basically, they're hating on Carmelo Anthony only to appease their all-white audience. Fast forward. Now, one of the things...
Yeah, that's especially nasty if what this guy here is saying is true. Notice what it says on the screen. Spreading lies about Carmelo Anthony. Now, regardless of where you sit and how you feel about that whole situation,
Donald Trump has been having a psychotic meltdown all morning as the losses continue to pile up, losing to Iran, losing in the Supreme Court, throwing the loser America 250 fare, which may be the worst fare I think anybody has ever seen. Let me show you what Donald Trump has been posting this morning. Let me bring the receipts, as we always do here on the Midas Touch Network. Just a reminder, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost at 7 million subscribers. Let's get there together. Here's what Donald Trump posted moments ago. Do you think people appreciate what a fantastic job we did in building and operating the great American State Fair at the National Mall, packed with happy people and everybody loving it? Ask yourself this simple question. Do you think that Obama or sleepy Joe Biden could have done it? The answer is no. This is quite literally the worst fair objectively I think anybody has ever seen, and it could have actually been a great event. So if Donald Trump thinks that this is the best fair ever, when Donald Trump says that he's made America the best country ever, just think of the fair and the reflecting pool as the symbolism of what he's turned the United States into. Then he goes on and says, highest polling numbers ever, even higher than Election Day, November 5th. This despite the fact that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. I don't really think you're using the words this despite the fact that in the right context there. But no, your polling is at an all-time low. You are in the low 30s and heading for the 20s as the American people hate you. Then, as Donald Trump had to finish manipulating had to continue manipulating the markets and had to finish striking Iran to manipulate the markets this weekend, Here's what Donald Trump just posted. Iran has requested a meeting. It will take place tomorrow in Doha. It was actually supposed to take place today. Meetings were supposed to take place over the weekend. They were actually supposed to be about Iran's nuclear enrichment, but it's no longer going to be about that. It's going to be about control over the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's red lines that the U.S. needs to stop telling ships to not use the IRGC controlled route because the U.S. keeps violating the MOU. So, yes, it has been delayed a few days. Witkoff and Kushner are going to be there, not J.D. Vance, which further just shows that nothing is going to get done. And it just further reflects the fact that you're manipulating the markets. And here he proves it again. WTI crude, $69 and heading down. You may also want to let people know there, Donald, that the American strategic reserves in Cushing, Oklahoma, have basically hit tank bottom right now. And as a result, you were forced to surrender in a catastrophic and unlawful war that you should have been involved in the first place. As I said, it's not just foreign policy disasters, which I'll get to more of that in a minute. Also, Donald Trump is having a head in the United States Supreme Court declined to hear Trump's appeal of the $5 million sexual abuse and defamation verdict won by E. Jean Carroll again. That means that Trump has run out of appeals. We can say with 100% certainty, although we knew this before, that Donald Trump has been adjudicated a sexual predator and that he has been found civilly liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll and for defaming her. The Supreme Court declined to hear Donald Trump's final attempt to get that case reversed. Also, the Supreme Court, in a 5-4 ruling, held that states may count mail-in ballots that are postmarked on and before Election Day, even if they arrive afterward. That pissed Donald Trump off as well, and he said, in light of the tremendous loss in the Supreme Court, we need the Save America Act. And so Donald Trump has refused to sign the housing affordability bill, which Trump wants his voter suppression bill to be passed instead of housing affordability, because Donald Trump is an authoritarian dictator and a really bad and incompetent one too. Although they're all bad and incompetent as well. Donald Trump also posted, surprisingly, the Supreme Court declined to review a third case brought against me by a woman I never met. Yeah, well, a jury of your peers found unanimously that you engaged in sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll. It's not a fake case, and by the way, you saying that gives E. Jean Carroll another defamation case against you if she so chooses. That she has the ability to file a lawsuit just based on that post alone, because you are defaming her and saying that she is a liar and brings fake cases against you when you've now been adjudicated at the highest level to be a sexual predator. Just pull back for a second, folks. Pull back for a second. Because we should not forget the sicko in the Oval Office who's out there destroying everything is indeed an adjudicated sexual predator. That should be disqualifying without me even having to say it. It should also be noted that the Supreme Court ruled against Donald Trump's position, where Trump wanted to immediately fire the Federal Reserve Board Governor, Lisa Cook. The Supreme Court prevents Trump from firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook. It's a 5-4 vote. This is what was in the ruling. The majority ruling was written by Justice Roberts, who writes, the founders knew from experience the calamities that could arise from even the suspicion of political manipulation of monetary policy. It was a bad ruling, though, today, as well as the Supreme Court, which overturned the Humphreys executor case, which would allow the president, fortunately in this case Donald Trump, to fire the heads of agencies in all other agencies and departments. It's not the Federal Reserve, that has a carve out under the Lisa case right here. And the Supreme Court says the Federal Reserve is different based on its history. That Donald Trump wants to constantly attack Obama and Biden. Well, no one's showing up to your state fair, which is the lightest lift to make the state fair a special event, right? Tickets to the Obama Presidential Center are all sold out through November and probably later at this point. You know, it's interesting, though, too, to watch how the state regime, in the same way they tried to pump the Melania movie, because they're regime news, they're state regime media, right? The way they're trying to pump this state fair, and nobody who wants to go to a state fair being run by a sexual predator and somebody who is destroying the country and who's turned it into like a weird thing and who refers to musical performers who are concerned about being there as, quote, lintards. Like, who wants to? The American people don't want to be at an event like this. And it's also just looks bad. There's nothing there. There's price gouging. It's gross. But here's how they keep on pushing it on state regime media. And as Aaron Rupert said, did the rapture happen overnight? It's completely empty here, which we've always been seeing. But Donald Trump said this is the greatest, most highly energetic event, and Obama and Biden could not do such a great event. Here, play this clip.
So yes, it's typically hot in the summer, but it's not this hot in the summer. That's it from here for me. But a guy who knows all about places that are hot, Lawrence, LJ, you're over in Texas, I think.
I was born in heat in West Texas.
Yeah, you were.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're right in front of the Texas tent. This is where everything big happens. All right, if you look over there, there's a rodeo. You're going to get cattle. You're going to get horses. And that's all from Texas. But I want y'all to meet a special friend. You know it well. Let's go. This is the Secretary of Agriculture. This is my friend from a long time. It's good to be back home.
Yeah. I actually feel bad right here for this U.S. Marine band. The quartet who's being used by the Trump regime to try to attract people to this fair. But Fox will regime media. Regime media is going to regime media. Here, play this clip.
This summer, the cup is bigger than ever, and DraftKings has you covered wherever you live. Pinkies up.
New DraftKings customers. Spend $5 and get $200 in total bonuses. The crown is yours.
So then they bring on, CNBC's basically become regime media adjacent at this point. It's bad. They bring on Kevin Hassett. Kevin Hassett, Trump's national economic advisor. This guy's been wrong about everything his entire life. Hassett, like he's literally known as like picking big, saying the economy is about to boom, and then like that's like when the dot-com crash happens, like right before the Great Recession. Now you need to get it. I mean, this guy's the worst. So he goes on CNBC though and goes, what this weekend shows us is that Iran should never test the resolve of Donald J. Trump. What are you even talking about? Iran has made it clear that if ships, if vessels, tankers, and cargo ships use the Oman route, they will be hit. And when the United States struck Iran, Iran struck back and hit American military bases in Bahrain and in Kuwait. And then Donald Trump's like, oh crap, the futures market's about to open. It's Sunday at 2 p.m. What am I going to do? Or 5 p.m. on the East Coast. I got to call Barack Rabid at Axios and say, we're going to Doha, and we're going to Switzerland, or we're doing all these things, and we're going to be meeting with Iran. Things are very productive again. American people know your market manipulation. We know that you do the strikes Friday after the market closed. On Sunday, you go to Barack Rabid at Axios, or whoever your preferred reporter is, and say, we're doing talks, you manipulate the market while you're screwing the American people. Here's what Hassett has to say. Play this clip.
My view is that what's going to happen between now
and the 60-day memorandum of understanding discussion is that they'll be testing the resolve of the president now and then, and nobody should ever try to test the resolve of Donald Trump. There was a little bit of a test this week, and of course he delivered a pushback that has some back to the table. And the bottom line, the macro picture is that the straits are going to be open, Iran's not going to have a nuclear weapon, and the global oil market is going to be safer, and there's going to be more oil than you've ever seen before, and risk premia in the Middle East will go down because of the seats that President Trump is negotiating.
Well, it's interesting, too, as it says, nobody should try our resolve. Okay, because this morning, Israel launched attacks on Syria. Also, it further launched attacks in southern Lebanon. And Israel Defense Minister, Israel Katz, the guy's name, his name is Israel Katz from Israel, said in a briefing to military reporters moments ago, Trump is preventing Hezbollah's collapse. Trump linked Iran to Lebanon because he wanted to close the deal with Tehran, with Iran. Israel's defense minister says, I informed the commanders of CENTCOM we will not withdraw from the security zones in Gaza, in Syria, in Lebanon. Iran has not yet decided whether to return to the nuclear program. And then Israel's defense minister, I'm quoting him, says, the fighting with Iran will resume, either because Trump decides negotiations are exhausted or because Iran fires on Israel. If Iran attacks, there will be the third Iran war. So this morning, Syria had to condemn Israeli incursions and shelling in the southern governance area, calling it a violation of their sovereignty. Not only Israel striking in Lebanon, in Syria as well. Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara, who used to go by al-Jalani when he was the leader of al-Qaeda, he says, Israeli entity which has always accustomed us to targeting our stability and creating discord among us since the overthrow of the now defunct regime, is now seeking once again to turn our pure land into an arena of chaos. So, Donald Trump, you can manipulate the market, but the Midas Touch viewers, we see the geopolitical landscape right now, and we know that you've made things more unstable than ever before. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister, Kazem Garibati, just posted that the first meeting of the Hormuz Joint Committee was held today in Muscat, Oman, with Oman's Foreign Affairs Minister, where the two reviewed current issues in the Strait, discussed its future management, as outlined in paragraph 5 of the MOU, briefly turning our attention to Venezuela for a moment, where there was outrage after a video emerged, but this is what's going on in the ground, that Venezuela's feared interior minister, Diosdado Cabello, was basically, they frame it as blocking U.S. rescue delegation from helping Venezuelans, but the reality is that this guy's Delcy Rodriguez is enforcer, and the people of Venezuela are like, we need earthquake relief right now, and the U.S. has taken like $5 billion of our oil already. It's helped Americans at all one bit. Americans are feeling, hey, we got it. Who the hell knows where that money is going? Now you want to give us $100 million, but it seems that money's going to Delcy, and it's going to Diosdado Cabello and not the people. And so the people of Venezuela are like, what the heck is going on here? But you have White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. This is going to be their plan heading into the midterms, which is just to say, but the Democrats are radical extremists. They're communists, everybody. Yes, we're not signing affordability bills, and yes, we screwed you over, and yes, we promised to bring down prices, but prices are higher. But communism, we're going to scare you and divide you. Communism. Here, play this clip.
After his election, the president invited him in to have productive conversations about the future of our country. However, I know the president and many Americans are extremely concerned where how far left the Democrat Party is moving. You see these candidates, this is not your granddaddy's Democrat Party. These are communists. The president is right to call them that. They want to abolish private prisons. They want to abolish the police. They want to abolish private property. These are radical Marxist ideas that have never worked in the history of the world. And
then MAGA Republican Congress members like Randy Fine giving away the whole game. So, like, why is it that, like, you and Trump are not supporting the housing affordability bill? Isn't it a pretty good accomplishment for once Republicans and Democrats work together, where you have Tim Scott, a MAGA Republican, and Elizabeth Warren finding common ground for housing affordability? And he gives away the game. He's like, yeah, but if Elizabeth Warren likes it and Democrats like it, then we hate it. Now, I didn't come here to do deals. I came here to beat the other side. That's what American people hate about MAGA right now and hate about Trump. It's that attitude right there, dividing us. Play this clip here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, look, my issue was if Elizabeth Warren thinks a bill is great, then it probably isn't. And that's sort of how I look. The enthusiasm with which Democrats had for this bill got me spooked. And I didn't come to Washington to work with Democrats. I came to Washington to beat them. So that was where I was. As for the president, he'll do what he thinks is best, and I trust his judgment. I certainly hope if he chooses to veto the bill, Republicans will not choose to override him. And
Tubi, free movies and live TV.
California, I consider the weed state of maybe not even the country, but the world.
What was the average size of a grow that you would bust?
2,000 to 5,000 plants. We got into our first gunfight. My partner was almost killed. These guys are military-like trained. It's really potent weed. Other than being, deadly and full of all kinds of poisons that's slowly killing you.
Well, how is that prejudicial to humans' health?
Central nervous system damage. I've never seen more corruption than in the states that I love, and it's a bittersweet fight.
John Norris is a federal game warden who spent the last 20 years hunting and eradicating cartel marijuana grow sites all over the state of California. John has seen firsthand the power of Mexican cartels to infiltrate national parks, forests, and private land in order to grow billions of dollars of black market marijuana every year. John reveals the harmful pesticides that cartels spray on their weed plants, which not only kill wildlife and poison the environment, but poison you, the weed smoker. But probably most shocking is the fact that marijuana legalization has actually made cartels stronger, not weaker. John reveals how Mexican cartels have allied themselves with Chinese pot growers who are operating with impunity in California's most vulnerable regions and have spread out to states all over the country. Make sure to check out John's best-selling book, Hidden War, available wherever you buy books. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fascinating interview. The great John Norris, right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell. John Norris. My man.
Mitchell, good to be
here. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, over a year.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we are, and you were in California when we first had this conversation to do the show, and now you're in the great state of Texas, so awesome to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, we kind of grew up on opposite sides of the fence, didn't we?
We sure did.
I was buying weed from, certain fellas in Northern California, and you were trying to take out my fellas. You were taking out my connects, dude.
Yeah,
I did not appreciate that.
No, I know. Eventually, I had to do my side of the world of the job, and I had to work on those connects and get into the weed issue, which ironically I never predicted would happen when I started my fishing game career in 1992. It just wasn't something we knew in the traditional world of doing game warden work that we would be dealing with the weed cartels on an environmental threat level and a public safety level, and how that would even play into the game warden continuum, if you will, for definition.
So most people wouldn't guess that as a game warden, as part of the California Fish and Wildlife Bureau. Why are you guys, and not the DEA, going after these big illegal cartel marijuana grows?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for the longest time in my career, I started in 92. Got an academy at Napa Valley College up there in Northern California. Got sent down to Southern California, the Inland Empire, Riverside County specifically. 22 years old. I've been to like Disneyland, Anaheim a couple of times my whole life. And I don't know what SoCal is even about. I'm a NorCal kid. And for being a California veteran or, alumni like I am, they're two different countries, man. They really are.
100%.
But I get down there, Johnny, and the cool thing is you're drinking through a fire hose on a learning curve to be a really good, safe game warden because of the dangers down there. So, yeah, I'm doing the hunting and the fishing enforcement. And for everybody listening, watching, game warden's primary mission is to enforce environmental laws related to fish and wildlife species, water quality, and really protecting what I call the 3 Ws, wildlands, waterways, and wildlife. But before we do all that in the academy, we have to go through a full police academy that certifies us to do everything California Highway Patrol do, Texas State Troopers, Dallas PD, federal agents. We learn all that, and we're certified to do that, but we're going to focus on the environmental protection side of it, working for the state of California under the Resources Agency directly under the governor. Also federally deputized to do federal enforcement of wildland, waterway, and wildlife laws with U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and other federal agents. So
that gives you the jurisdiction to enforce laws that are on federal land.
Exactly.
Like in California in a national park.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now, we'll work with our federal brothers and sisters. Let's say there's a Sinaloa cartel grow in Yosemite National Park, which we handled some of those with those guys, or Sequoia National Park. We will, if we find it or someone turns it into us, we're going to make it a federal case, obviously. We're going to collaborate. We're going to work together. At state parks, private cattle ranches. And something I want to talk about a little bit today is there's kind of a national push to put cattle ranching in a negative light of environmentally damaging, and we want to change protein consumption from beef cattle to soy, whatever. And I've grown up in the Silicon Valley foothills, which oxymoronically, who thinks of the tech capital of the world, having some of the best cattle ranches and cattle ranchers, families working in that area and being some of the best environmental protectors when they do cattle ranching correctly, working on private lands like that where the cartels have also impacted, or what we call the private land infiltration of rural areas.
That's fascinating.
Or clandestine.
Wow, so there's so much land that the cartels will actually sneak on to privately owned land where there's, obviously it's forested, right?
Yep.
Vegetated. I mean, you got to hand it to them. These guys got will. They have willpower.
Yeah, and to your point, I went in, I mean, we knew the cartels were working their way in the late 80s and pushing growers out of Mexico, vetted tier 1 growers that cut their teeth and basically, got their stripes down in the Sinaloa cartel structure by effectively growing really good weed, however toxically tainted with the EPA banned carbofuran poisons we'll talk about, that I also show pictures of and highlight a lot in all my books, especially the new second edition of Hidden More, that thankfully you've got a copy of.
Try imagining a place where the summer season long. Come in, you should set out here. Tell them something song.
Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes, and we'll slide you up to $200. Apply now. Get spotted up to $200 for style, tech, food, and more. Don't wait. Apply now.
We knew that was going on. We had no idea what the environmental impacts were, and that they would eventually work their way from the San Diego National Forest areas, the Riverside National Forest, like Cleveland National Forest, where I started my career early on in the 90s, including throughout the rest of California, Oregon into Washington, and later would move into really the whole country. And being in any of these rural states where they could effectively grow weed under the noses of the federales down in, or the Mexican military down in Mexico. And when they do that effectively, then they get deposited up here and smuggled across the border to do really effective work. And when you said something like, these guys are really, gung-ho and skilled, that's not an understatement. These guys are excellent with it. Yeah. The way they divert water on a gravity-fed half-inch or 1-inch black poly pipeline and suck it out of a pond or an underground spring or dry up a creek. And I have no exaggeration, Johnny. I have seen and tracked with our guys a water source for a massive grow on a private ranch that had been there for years. It was probably harder to find it on this private ranch on the Pacheco Pass Highway that goes from Santa Cruz, San Jose, Silicon Valley, all the way over to the Central Valley to get to Interstate 5, as you know. And there's a massive cattle ranch up there. Guys hunt deer, you know, in the summer, a little bit of deer hunting going on. And these guys have a 15,000 plant grow running for years because it was even more remote and just didn't get access or looked at than somebody going into a national park in a remote area or a state park. Mm-hmm. But that water line, brother, it was in Merced County, pulling out of part of San Luis Reservoir and ponds associated with that, and run underground in places where cattle ranch roads were into the grow site to have an awesome, effective, year-round water source for this massive grow site. 3 miles of pipe.
3 miles.
3 miles.
That these guys just
across 3 counties. Yeah.
That's insane.
And running it through Poison Oak, through rock, embankments and cuts and creeks, running it, keeping the angle so it has enough velocity to keep enough uphill flow where the pipe's got a dip, and then camouflaging it, spray painting it tactically like we would, our sniper rifles or whatever with camo paint, put brush on it, hide those encampments. And again, pictures really go into this book, and when you look at, it's mind-blowing because I have so many relatives that fought in the Vietnam War. And they're watching my missions as a game warden and forming up the marijuana enforcement team, the first tactical unit dedicated to doing this the last 6 years of my career from 2013 to 2018. That was my job. And it took 13 years to get there. 5 or 6 gunfights we had with the growers. One where my partner was shot the very first gunfight by an AK-47 round through both legs in the Silicon Valley foothills, literally in the foothills above the affluent little city of Los Gatos. So you probably know where Los Gatos is.
Affluent.
Yeah.
A lot of money up there.
Big time. And literally a stone's throw, less than a couple miles up on those ridges of mid-peninsula open space property, is a 32,000 plant, 6 or 7 individual grow sites, probably 20 plus growers in satellite camps owning that mountain for years. And nobody had found it until we stumbled into it with Mid-Peninsula Open Space help.
And what year is that?
2005.
Okay, so...
And that was only the second grow I had ever been on as a game warden, where I was effectively working with the sheriffs, and that was the day that we got into our first gunfight. My partner was almost killed.
Okay, so these guys started shooting.
They did.
Which I think is pretty rare.
Usually it is.
Because I was locked up with a lot of these guys, sweetest guys. They're just poor farmers from, one of the states in the Golden Triangle.
Yep.
And they're hired, they're contracted by the actual cartel members who fund them. And then they're small, they're not treated well. They're smuggled up across the border. But yeah, they do have guns. They are armed.
They're armed, and we kind of call it. It's kind of on a sliding scale of who we're going to deal with in a particular grow. Like in that particular case in Sierra Azul above Los Gatos, it was August 5th of 2005. It was harvest time. Most of those plants were mature, they were budded, so there was a lot of harvesting going on. And the way we learned this, and you probably heard this and can validate it, or we can talk about it. 2 vetted Tier 1 growers from the organization typically come up across the border. They're smuggled across. The money's paid. And then back in the day, because I think it's chapter 4 in Hidden More, I talk about a debrief. And this is going to be a tangent that relates, so bear with me for a minute. But we picked up what's called a plaza boss, and in the cartel structure, a plaza boss runs a region of various size. One guy might have the whole northern third of California, Central California, another guy, maybe Southern California in general, one other plaza boss. And this was a boss that was overseeing 50 to 70 outdoor cartel weed grows, but he was picked up in the winter overseeing his guys doing a 22-pound methamphetamine cook. And when he was busted by the white dope team in the sheriff's office, we got called in because this guy wasn't your typical violent, aggressive Sicario type, because we've run across those, and that's who we dealt with on the gunfight, and several since, which I'll make that differentiation in a minute. But this guy knew he was facing a lot of drama. I mean, a 22-pound meth cook, that's big. And now the super meth labs and everything going on, they're about 22 pounds a pop when they make that stuff up. But I got to sit in on a debrief with DEA, with all the agents, with the district attorney's office, and debrief this gentleman, right? Because now he wants to cooperate. He wants to give us legitimate information. And he was incredibly candid. And we don't mention names or anything like that, obviously for security reasons for everybody involved. But at that point, and that's about 2011, 2012 that we're into this. So we've been doing the anti-cartel weed stuff for quite some time. And one thing that agencies were not doing up there, they would rip a grow that they find. And it was never, we weren't really involved. We found our first one in 2004. That's another book story of how I even stumbled on that. And suffice to say, when I found that grow with an unarmed civilian biologist that I grew up with, very savvy outdoor guy, and this is 2004, the spring of 2004, around April, and I get a call him GI as he's called in the book, but he's been a family friend growing up with all four of the Norris kids, the Wolfpack, right? And very savvy outdoors, they go the law enforcement side, fisheries biology, really savvy in surviving. And he's doing a study on threatened endangered species on a Paliso ranch, which borders Henry Cove State Park, which is the second largest state park in California, where I grew up and met a game warden to become a game warden right in the foothills of Oregon and San Jose. So GI is doing studies on, red-legged, yellow-legged frog, steelhead trout, and steelhead are a ocean-run trout that go inland and upstream to spawn and lay their eggs, and they go back to the ocean. And these fish are so limited anywhere, especially on the West Coast, they're valued at about $40,000 a fish by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And he's studying all these animals to make sure habitat's right, what water levels are, biologist stuff. And one of the creeks is dry out of the two, and he calls me in a panic in April of 2004, and he's like, dude, someone's got to divert the water up the mountain. I have no idea why I left before the weekend. I come back and I had flowing creeks. The fish are out, they've laid their eggs, the little steelhead fry are swimming around, the red-legged, yellow-legged frogs are doing their thing. They're small. And now it's bone dry, everything's dead. And I got like discipline, black pipe, and kind of debris like from a camp that's all, deposited in the sand. And this is like 2 miles downstream where you go in the ranch to where he's doing his studies. I said, okay, that's a problem. And what do I think, Johnny? I think, okay, this is a landowner, maybe an outlaw rancher that needs more water. Maybe it's a developer, diverting water they need for a project, because those were the water diversions that led to dead creeks that I was familiar with.
And that's illegal too, right?
Right.
It's all illegal. Whatever purpose you're doing it for, whether it's illegal or not.
Correct.
You're not allowed to divert water.
Yeah, you can divert with an agreement, a stream adulteration agreement from our agency, where mitigating factors are put in. You're diverting the water to keep it clean while you're doing the project. You're revegetating. Water is, it's liquid gold around the world. And this was right before the big drought started, all in California. Countries all over the world are having massive drought right now, and water is becoming a source of, we need this or we die, all over the globe. And now endangered species are being damaged as well.
Okay, so that's how you first became aware of the problem of illegal cartel marijuana grows. And all of these creeks and streams and rivers are basically without water.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is, we're going in a little deeper because this is the first time I see Sinaloa cartel groups.
90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to handle bill pay processes. Why? Because our tools are built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. We're not just moving money. We're powering financial workflows for 500 million customers. That's a level of expertise you just can't fake. Ready to talk with an expert? Visit bill.com/proven to get started and grab a $250 gift card as a thank you. Terms and conditions apply. See offer page for details.
How did you know they were part of the Sinaloa cartel?
I didn't know they were part of Sinaloa the day I saw them, but the way they were dressed, I'll go back a little bit and give you a little bit of brief, because then I had to backtrack after this incident with my biologist buddy that I'm going to finish. I had to backtrack and start talking to DOJ and DEA and involve myself with other agencies that I just didn't work with as a game warden at the time. But let me jump ahead for a minute. Let me go back. So Gia and I throw them in the truck. I go, okay, let's go to the top of the ridge. Let's dive down to where you think that water starts. What's the headwaters? Is it a pond? Did somebody, dam it up? Where's that creek water coming from? What stopped this creek from flowing? And we get to a good strategic spot. We dive into the canyon. He's very wood savvy and quiet. We sneak around really good in the woods. We all hunt. We all fish. That's what game wardens do. This kid's awesome. And we get down to almost like a Grand Canyon, beautiful rock formations, and we can see right there this impoundment of water. It should be a creek, and it's lined with this black, visqueen plastic, almost like tarp material. First time I'd seen that again is what we call a target indicator of a cartel grow. No one else really uses that, typically in public lands or when they're trespassing on private lands. And then hand-built dam. And at the bottom of the dam was the black poly pipe, the 1-inch pipe, going down a dry creek. The creek is totally dry, everything is dead in it, but here's all that water under high pressure going down a creek. So spider senses are tingling for me. I'm like, this is not the typical water diversion I would see on private land or public land. So I say, we're going to move really quiet, we're going to follow this for a little bit, see what we got. We end up going down tactically, quietly, stalking through that creek, staying with the brush line on one edge of it. And then, Johnny, we get down to where we start to see 18-inch marijuana plants on both sides of the creek. All the vegetation, all the trees, all the grasses, they're cut and they're gone, which is bad. When all that stuff is gone, what happens when the winter rains hit? All that silt washes right into the creek. Forget that there's even toxic poisons in the grow site with these guys. Let's just take that out of the equation for now. All that's gone, that washes in, nothing survives. Those eggs suffocate, nothing can breathe in that water, you can't drink it. It's a done deal. Right. So there's so many multifaceted levels of environmental crime that go on an unregulated cartel grow anywhere in the outdoors. Right. By water. We get about 100 yards down that water line when we're seeing these plants, and there was a big cut in the creek bank that we could kind of hide in, and ahead of me, the plants are a little bigger, and you can see kind of trails through them, and they're on both sides of the creek. And I don't know this is a cartel grow yet, but I'm like, we're not moving any further. Get behind me. We hug the inside bank. I have an AR-15 with my red dot. We have cell phones. We have radios, or I have a cell phone and a radio. I have no radio communication, no cell service. Unarmed civilian buddy that I've known since second grade, and we're hovering, and we start to see movement through the plants. And here come the two growers. And they're dressed all in olive drab, battle dress uniforms, probably from a surplus store, the same stuff my dad wore in the Guard and in the Army, Vietnam era. Guy.
We won't talk about it again.
You guys been out with like a male?
No, it was 1.5 girls.
Oh, twins.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I didn't. Stop.
You know what, particular? I say good on you. You know why? Because it still is Pride Month. All the gender-affirming care that you do in your normal time is finally paying off. It's coming through this June. I can't believe this dude is still in France. Last time we took a peek into Clavicular's Paris-France trip, it was exposing the gap between his looks-maxing persona and how he's actually coming across in public. He's getting dubbed left and right. That cool, suave demeanor that he thinks he has isn't landing with the women in France. And quite honestly, they look at him more of a nuisance or an issue, somebody who shouldn't be tolerated and maybe even thrown water at. But now the latest and greatest news coming out of this France trip is him in the club kissing a woman, and the internet going to immediately talking about whether this person is trans or not, even though he's already debunked it. Now let me be clear, whether or not he did kiss a trans woman or not is none of my concern. Hey, do what you do and like what you like, brother. I'm always a pro-love type of dude, and that's not what this channel is about. But to me, this situation highlights that the image is cracking. Clavicular keeps finding himself in situations that he clearly does not want to be in. What made the first clip worse is that there was another clip that came out right after of Clav asking one of these young women if they are trans, and her response was interpreted by viewers as some sort of confirmation.
It's no disrespect whatsoever, but are you...
Okay, I was wondering. I don't give a about like.
Now, as a real French nigga, I know exactly what that means. Clavicular keeps trying to control this image, but France keeps putting him in situations and moments where the internet can control it. If you didn't listen, you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's going to go a long, long way for the channel. Oui, oui, and baguettes, and escargot, and French fries, and French toast, and all the other things that go along with it. And French people even wear this type of hat for real? Like, we got to ask somebody from France. Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama really saying. Now, back into the video. One of the things that I find funny about these guys on the internet who prop themselves up and make an appearance and an image about themselves, that is all done behind screens. They built the image off of storytelling, maybe some paid confirmations, or maybe taking somebody else's life experience and sharing it on their platform and somehow garner an audience that is willing to believe all this shit. Mind you, they're trying to paint themselves as these ultra-confident men from a live stream on a Friday night while you're watching the live stream on a Friday night, and people are buying it. It never makes sense. That's exactly what Clavicular has done for the past few years. He's had this image made of himself, this confident guy, this masculine guy, this looks-matching guy, the guy who understands women, attraction, status, presentation, better than anybody else. You see, France didn't validate that image that he made in America. He's having these awkward collabs, getting rejected left, right, and sideways, getting roasted by the locals, and I think most importantly, he's complaining about these European women simply because they're not rocking with him the way that he thinks they should. And now the biggest moment from that entire French experience where he was supposed to get his image validated is this situation where he's having to run to the internet and explain himself. Now, there's a pattern behind all of this, because every new moment from France makes Clavicular look less like the man in control and more like someone trying to manage an image that keeps falling apart in real time.
And I said to myself, no more cold approaching, because like chicks don't have an ego, like do all this shit.
Clavicular is right now like that rapper or that guy who has bought some sort of watch or has some sort of designer jeans on or has the big and latest and greatest car and is going out in the streets in peacock, right? Revving the engine, putting it in situations in which it can be visibly seen, but the difference is that he's finding out in real time that nobody actually cares about what he has going on.
But the weird thing about Paris that I'm noticing in Europe is everyone's like finding their this, and like in America, people like look around and like are aware, but in Paris, it's all like headphones, looking at the ground. Like I don't know what the fuck that's about.
All this work, all this money, and all this time, effort, and energy that he has put into a bit, into an image, into a personality, is falling apart in real time because it's not getting validated the way he wants it. He's expecting people to just stop and stare because he has some camera following him in the streets or because he looks a certain way. I don't know. It's very self-centered, and it's almost like the pot calling the kettle black. He's saying that these European women have an ego full time. Where you display? I think what really puts the cherry on top, though, is that these people aren't just ignoring Clavicular because they don't really give a fuck about, the facial expressions that he makes or the fact that he has some sort of IRL backpack streaming and all this other stuff. They're even going out of their way to make fun of him for thinking that he's some sort of big deal hotshot. When your whole persona is based on, people coming up to you, validating you in your experience and your looks and the fact that you are doing the right things, and in reality people are doing that, it weakens you. It makes you look lesser than. It makes you look uncomfortable because you work on the things that, may put you in a favorable light. It's not like he's working on not having a good personality or something like that. But all of the things that he does work on are surface level. So now the whole trip stops being about how Flav is judging France and how will they accept his look-maxing peak dominance that he's worked on over the past couple of years. No, it's more like France is judging Flav because he looks ridiculous. He's always looks ridiculous. And he's even hypocritical in a lot of his stances.
Organic food is those guys, so bro. This is like not even edible. What the the bun farm. My mother pictures her wearing like a bow tie and a vest down shoes, like they're making dollars.
Oh, give me. Mikey, this is somebody that's supposed to be like looks maxing what it takes to be better in real time and make you look the best and feel the best. That's what's supposed to be at the forefront. But I guess if it's not some peptides or some GLPs or something he can inject or bash in his face, Clavicular is not down with it. All right, so now I have a question for the viewing audience out there. If you have built this entire image up about yourself, talking about looks maxing and the peak male physique and form and all these other things, and you go out there and test it in the real world, and it's not being validated. People are messing with the persona. People are laughing at you, throwing drinks at you, all these other things. What would you do? Would you go home, go back to the drawing board, and rethink the way that you have gone about life? You know, maybe say I need to take some different stances. Or would you double and triple down? If you think go home and reevaluate your life and your choices, then you're most likely a sane, reasonable, and rational person. But if you think double down, well, we're probably predicting. Earlier in the video, I mentioned I know exactly why the kissing a trans woman clip got so popular and actually even happened in the first place. Since Clavicular isn't being validated by the regulators for his ideology and thought process that he regularly shares on the internet, he had to force situations, he had to force interactions, he had to force conversations with different people. And for what it's worth, they come off as awkward as fuck.
More savings, more convenience, more rewards, adding more value to your everyday and to your feed. Shell Fuel Rewards. Join today.
What you want to do is save hundreds with everything that customizes your car insurance. That's great, but can you ask your friend to stop digging into the green? I can ask. But he's not going to. Only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Women are actually like more sexually attracted to you if you're on testosterone because of like the pheromones you produce from sweating. So like I don't want to give you the wrong idea. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like this. I'm just like, all right, let me put some deodorant on.
I'll give Clavicular this. This is a W move by him. Not necessarily because of him saying that he doesn't want to omit testosterone and all this other stuff because that women produce pheromones. No, that shit is weird. You shouldn't have to be explaining why you're putting deodorant. The reason why is because Paris is going through insane people. It's actually claiming people's lives. So this is smart move. It's gonna be steep. But in this clip and other clips with Sophie Rain, I think that it shows the stark difference between being confident and narrating your actual confidence. Have you ever been out in public and you accidentally locked eyes with a stranger? I don't know, maybe you were looking out into the distance and this person crossed your eyesight, eye line, and then you guys locked eyes and they looked at you and said, ew, I got somebody, you're ill. First and foremost, if they said ew, you then, hey brother, got something going on. But second, if they made a statement like, oh, I've got somebody, I've got a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever the case may be, you probably thought to yourself, who do you think you are? That's basically because I'm killing this situation. Any ideas about you, Sweaty, in these Paris streets? Come on, ridiculous. Didn't Sophie Rain say she had an NBA player offer her $15 billion for the cat? And you think she's gonna fuck with you, thinking man? Oh, God. If he wasn't forcing it already, I think this next clip really highlights and emphasizes how much Clavicular needs these interactions to look good for his viewing audience.
Can I have Diet Coke with tequila? We also have 6 shots of tequila. Yeah. And can you bring 6 more every 5 minutes?
Oh, what's wrong with you? 6 shots of tequila every 5 minutes? Look, I'm not a drinker, like not at all. But I can spot when somebody is uncomfortable and trying to force situations. Guys, I cannot emphasize to you how hot it is in Paris right now. There are people actually drowning because they are attempting to cool themselves down. Paris is going to have to halt alcohol sales because of the extreme heat that's going on right now. But that's not going to stop a guy who needs to make a point. This is Sophie Rain pull a fan out like, yo, brother, it was hot as fuck, and this is like what you want to do right now? Now, as somebody who was once a young man himself and has interacted with other young men, I know that people use alcohol as liquid courage, especially in front of the hoods. And I think that's exactly what Clavicular is doing. And we'll continue to do for the rest of this Paris trip. Because it's not working here, I've got to force this situation there. The only way for me to force this situation is if I take a little drink to, knock the edge off. Even if it could cost me my fucking life. But you know what? That's superstar Sophie Rain. So maybe Clavicular needed some help gaining control of the situation. What happens if he's just hitting the night out on the town and runs up on 2 regular women? Easily be able to master that, right? After mastering look maxing and understanding women to the fullest, he should easily be able to, control that situation.
All right, Brian, here you go.
Oh, damn, I don't give a fuck. I do. I
You see what I'm saying about the forcing thing now? You understand that the situation is mad awkward. Ridiculous presses them and gets what should be a natural rejection. Yo, are you available? Oh, no, I have a boyfriend. Oh, okay. They can move on. No, instead, he continues to press the boundaries, push and push and push. Why? Because he needs to come off a certain way. He needs to maintain a certain image, even if it means disrespecting somebody's committed relationship. This is weird, though, because I didn't get alpha male or top dog or, somebody who's figured out women in that situation. I got somebody who is overzealous and needs to prove a point. So the total straight up disrespecting somebody, which I found to be extremely weird. It's claimed to be this guy who is massive social dominance, but the real interactions keep showing that he is lacking social awareness. All right, question number 2. Let's go into question 10. You're in the same situation as clavicular. You're getting proven left and right you are wrong, that this isn't a place for you, that the model that you've been going with for the past couple of years is not working. So, you got 2 options. You could go home, get back to the drawing board, and rethink everything, or you could double down in what you stand on and look to shift the blame. What do you do?
I'm misogynist, but the French are literally like women, right? How does it even make sense? Hey, ladies, have a beautiful night. So let me get this straight. I say, you ladies look beautiful. They go up and literally stab them, and I'm somehow the bad guy in France. It's like, let's keep the women of France safe. Okay, let's protect them. Let's advocate for them.
Who told you to shoot that shot? At this point, Caligula is totally spiraled. Got to control at this point. He is now making a marriage. I had to look this up. I swear to God, I had to look this up because I didn't know that what he was saying was true. Maybe what he's saying is true. Maybe the women in Paris, France, should be on the lookout because there are just people running up on them and there's some sort of poking epidemic that is going on. I had trouble finding it. I don't know. Maybe he's seen it. But what it seems like to me is that he's trying to shift blame and to reframe things because he is desperate. He's desperate because the image that he's been trying to portray is falling apart in real time. It was a situation in which a fan asked him for a picture and did the classic, mogging, mewing face of sucking the cheekbones.
I'm really trying to improve my flexibility this year, so I asked ChatGPT to help me come up with a few stretches I can do every day. They're super easy to incorporate before or after a workout or before bed, and it only takes me 10 minutes.
They did that right next to him. And you would think, based off of Clavicular's criticism, that this guy just committed murder.
No, it's because these guys look so when they do these fucking faces. It's like, bro, you're not walking around like doing all the squinting bull. It's like whenever someone comes up to me for a picture, I don't change my face. Like, dude, it's like, cause it's weird. It's like, what the fuck? You don't look like that. You do not look like that. Stop trying so hard.
Hey, bro, you just mad that you got mobbed to death by a tent. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's funny because these people are actually imitating Caligula. Like, they are saying that